Итак. Keep walking. Сейчас.
Now, if it isn't the prodigy, well... Yes, I know. She's already told me everything. Good work. Even though part of her report seemed to be a bit... enthusiastic. But I'll leave the judgment to Aranthiel. He wants to talk to you anyway. Seems you've caught his interest.
This just doesn't make any sense. Why can't it ever be easy? Where is this supposed to lead? Blazes, I just can't bloody believe it. Oh, you're here? I thought you were in the city.
No, the Archmagister ordered me back. Feels good to be here, to be honest. Funerals. I could have done without them.
I don't doubt it. I still can't believe that really happened. Brother Yarrow was such a good man.
I don't think the Red Madness cares much about that.
Probably not, no. I wonder how it happens. The infection.
What do you mean?
Well, the red eyes and the obvious madness only happen in the last stages of the disease. But what happens before that? How? How can one tell someone else is afflicted?
Why? Scared you've caught it, are you?
That is not funny. You know, I've had this feeling that there's something wrong with Yarrow for quite some time, long before it happened.
You don't say. His wife was murdered. You think that would have thrown you out of balance? Not fighting Enderal.
That's not what I mean.
In the Emporium, the last building on the left side of the temple. Just tell the guard that Aranthiel has asked for you, and... Ah, yes, before I forget. Very well. I'm sure we'll talk again later. Now, if it isn't the prodigy...
Maybe it was
well,
Yarrow's grief, his instability, that made him susceptible to the Red Madness in the first place. But let the Flameling and the Apothecary find that out. I have to go now, brother. Walk.
Так, сейчас порой ходил вроде.
Huh? What do you want?
Magister Carlos, team of...
Carlos? Why's that?
Сейчас сходи.
This is holy ground, Outlander. You don't belong here.
This is holy ground. Work. You do not belong here.
Where is this supposed to be?
That's just how it is. Everything.
Все уже справа.
Yes? Yes? Monsieur?
Walk blessed.
As I said, the offer stands.
I will.
Wait a moment.
About it, okay?
Hey, you came. Come on, take a seat. So, tell me, how are you holding up? It must have been quite the whirlwind. Yesterday, a refugee from another country, and now a prodigy with a magic great enough to impress old Bushybeard. Well, that's good to hear. I'm quite curious to see how things keep on with you. You're different. I noticed that the time we met. Anyhow, tell me, what do you make of this country now that you've had some time to look around? I figure it must be quite the change from Narim. Shoot! Yeah, I can picture that. You know, this is exactly the reason why I love inns so much. The sky can rain fire out there. In here, you'll always meet laughter and good humor. Not to mention all the good-looking men and women. Absolutely. Though I think I've seen enough of this place by now. Of Enderal, I mean. There's a ship sailing for Calais next morning, and as it seems, it will be the last one for quite some time to come. Who knows? Maybe they still have a cabin to spare for a handsome treasure hunter. Oh well. This entire thing was more a coincidence than planned anyhow. The Order needed someone with skill and discretion, I was around. End of story. I never intended to stick around for much longer. Heck, me as an ambassador of the Holy Order, could you imagine that? Not one step further, O fair maiden. Drop your garment so we may both bathe in Malthus's holy light. Actually not that bad, don't you think? Oh, you're too kind. But you know, at the end of the day, I guess I'd probably lack both the pathos and the idealism for such a profession. You know, I'm aware of how these esteemed keepers up there talk about sellswords like me. I could save 30 virgins from a Myrodon rampage. At the end of the day, they'd always say I did it for the money, because I wanted to bet the women, or whatever. I'm driven by inferior motives, while no matter what their actions end in, they are good guys, because they do things for the right reasons. If only they'd understand that it's results that matter, not intentions. What does the wise hermit say? Nothing is of less importance to the saved than the reason for their rescue. The only difference between a mercenary like me and a holy warden is that I'm at least aware of the fact that I do what I do for myself, and no one else. I'm trying to say that all those heroes and self-declared messiahs are no better than everyone else. In the end, we are all selfish. So yes, maybe the funny thing is that a lot of times, they don't understand what drives them, and that makes them easy to manipulate. The only thing left to do for the capable, and presto, you've got your perfect puppet. The world would be a much better place if everyone could just acknowledge that the only... Really? I very much enjoyed our talk, but the ship to Kile leaves before the... Keep your chin up.
Hello.
Good evening.
Monsieur?
Some shifts never end.
Yes?
Ah, there you are. Magister Cars.
Так, это не надо. Так. Это не надо. Это не надо. Так, это можно ставить. Ставить не надо. Не надо. Так, это ставим. Это не надо. Увеличивать установление. Это ставим. Далее. Умножим. Это не нужно, не рекламно ставим. Это можно ставить, выбросить, доставить, выбросить. Так, то ставим.
shards. What's that?
I don't know. But
May his light guide you.
transcribe.
Ah, I thought... Well...
This is holy ground, Outlander. You do not belong here.
It is a suspicion, Teela. And to send an entire division across the sea because of a suspicion is madness.
We need to find out who sent the mercenaries. This Pegast said that they were after the Signet Stone, and if they succeed in getting hold of it next time, then the Black Guardian alone knows how to stop the cycle.
The cycle. Listening to you talk almost makes me forget that all this fuss here is merely based on some bad dreams you and your Neremese friends had.
The threat is real. Deny it as much as you like, but deep inside, you feel it as much as I do.
Teela, you're a commander, and a commander doesn't care about feelings, but about facts. You have made this mistake before, Teela, back then in Kira. And we all know...
The mission will happen. I'm sorry.
You have a visitor.
So, you are the prodigy everyone is talking about. Interesting. I am Teela Aranthia, son of Lorius I and Grandmaster of the Order, and I'm honored to meet you. What is your name? Yes, and I will come straight to the point. You are here because I believe that you are special. Humanity faces a threat that needs to be stopped. And to achieve this, you are indispensable. Among other things, yes. I do not need to explain to you that the present situation on Vin is chaotic. The wars, the living dead, common people who are losing their minds, to name only the most obvious. What most people are not aware of is the connection between these events. You, however, have encountered it, as have I. I do. And I will explain everything to you. What it means, who we are, and what your part in all of this is. Come, follow me. Maybe you already know who I am. My entire life, I served the gods who ruled Vin, until their death 2 years ago. What you probably do not know is that the one responsible for their death is my son, Narazul Aranthia. He hated the Lightborn because he believed that they robbed mankind of their right to freedom, so he strived to overthrow them. He found followers, formed an army and declared war on them, and thus on me, a servant of the Lightborn as well. It all ended in a battle 30 years ago, which Narazul won. He killed every single survivor except for me, and locked me in a dungeon on Nerim. I still do not know why he spared me. Yes, after more than 30 years, when the death of the gods made the magic around the prison disappear. And during my escape in the northern mountains of Nerim, I also had them for the first time, the dreams.
I always saw the same glaring, terrible light. Heard screaming, and I felt like I was burning up from the inside. And above all, like a veil, there was the knowledge of imminence. At first, of course, I dismissed these dreams as the delusion of a man close to death. So I concentrated on making it through the mountains somehow. 2 days after my escape, I was completely exhausted, and I would have died if a former Yes, but he did not recognize me, and brought me to their headquarters instead. Maybe because they thought that Still, even after my recovery, the dreams continued. At first, I doubted my sanity, but after some time, I told the leader of the mages, Constantine, about them. He said something that I'd never expected. I was not alone. He, as well as many others, magically gifted on Vin. The same dreams. And the more we talked about the matter, the stronger our suspicion grew, which has now turned out to be the truth. The dreams, they come from the same place. The collective subconscious. I know that you can feel it too, the Pyreans. 3 things. First, there were many civilizations before us and before the Pyreans. Maybe hundreds, maybe thousands. Second, the history of each civilization unfolded and still unfolds according to a pattern. They emerge, they blossom, and at some point, at the apex of their existence, they simply disappear without any trace. And third, everything that has happened in the past years, and which is still happening, indicates that this disappearance lies ahead of us. We are part of an eternal loop, a cycle, and our cycle is approaching its end. I see why you would say that, but I've felt the same way for a very long time. But there came a moment when we simply could not deny it anymore. We began to study the history of the Pyreans more intensely. Also, the Pyreans had a ruling caste who declared themselves gods after, and then, just like that, the Pyreans ceased to exist. They knew it was imminent, but they could not prevent it. Well, this is the reason why we need your help. Not only episodes of history recur. Yes, while I take on the role of the ruler, you take on the role of... It's just a description. Call it what you will. But without doubt, it is the truth. Your story matches the descriptions perfectly. Yes. Former enemies or not, both sides have understood the magnitude of the threat. The magical knowledge of Narazul's former mages is vast, as is the power of the Holy Order. Even though not all of the Keepers agree, as you probably have already noted yourself. On the one hand, your power. On the other hand, your ability to look into the past. Your visions are a window into the past. You can feel the thread this world is woven with. And because of that, you can see things that have happened, and thus will happen again. Good. However, there's one more thing before the actual work begins. It is the trial the novices have to pass. At this very moment, 2 novices are on their way to the test at the board. One more thing. After the cycle has been stopped, we will... No, leave. The sooner we can dispense with this formality, the better.
В чем прикол медитации? Чудотворец. Это что? Шторм. Тень ветра. Колдун. Чудотворец. Магическая мощь. Вот тогда можно... Давайте сюда попробуем, посмотрим, что здесь. Хранитель сокрушительной силы. Танцор с клинка, наемник. Вот сюда. Нет. Так. Нет, тут что? А там, наверное, скорее всего. Так, Тимур. Подобная броня. Броня эффективней. Все замки. Я пока не знаю, когда. Это что? Все заклинания. Это пока нету. Так, хорошо. Тогда включаем тяжелую броню. Что тут еще можно? Ручная. Так. Позволяет. Так. Больше чудотворец не могу. Пока что так. Потом дальше посмотрим, что. Двигайтесь выше.
Huh? Now look at that. Someone... Arizalian brandy. Vintage, 8214. All right then. When I hear you say that, I don't regret for a second that I never came back to Ostian. Even though I've thought about it from time to time. Wow! Finally, someone who says it up front. Yeah, my grandfather. He used to serve in the South Realms Marine. You can connect the dots. But to answer your original question, though we fled the city around 10 years, the temple was always a bunch of fanatical fuckheads. But that bastard High Priest Janus gave the word... I know. You should have seen how people... Even as a kid, they always looked at me and my almond-shaped eyes as if they were expecting me to pull out a... True words. Warriors of the Creator. And still, so many people join their ranks. Don't think for yourself anymore. Let someone else do it for you. I had. He was about 15 years older than me. Drapers for generations. The best in Ostian. I suppose... But Rakul. I can't remember how often Father told him that he was a disgrace. You could call it that, yes. He spent almost all of his time in the temple after his conversion, and knew the entire Rania, their holy scripture, by damn right. And once that's done, they send... I'm sorry, my dame. Your youngest... Now, do you have any... Damn it, I hate those bastards. Just hate them. He was slaughtered, hacked into pieces by chance. That was before the but, well... Anyway, I'd say we call it quits for now, okay? It was good talking to you, but I'm dying for a nap. Take care.
All for the well-dressed my sir. And my dame, of course.
Yes?
Open him, my son. Please don't open him.
My sir.
Непонятная какая-то раскачка.
Huh. An arcanist, aren't you?
Good evening.
How long do they expect